This is the picturesque Blessington Lakes, nestled in the mountains of County Wicklow, Ireland, an active reservoir for water supply and electricity generation in the city of Dublin, a conservation area for wildlife, and a venue for recreational water sports. Beneath this seemingly natural body of water, however, lies a history of displacement and despair. 76 houses, 30 kilometres of thriving farmland, 4 bridges, a cemetery, holy wells and bogs were demolished and submerged in water at this exact site. Affected by the development of this artificial reservoir was my grandmother, Elizabeth McDonald, the mother of my father, Mark Byrne. Elizabeth, along with her parents and her younger sister Mary, resided in a homestead in the Valleymount area of Ballynahown. Her father, Patrick McDonald, worked as a farmer and a stonemason, while her mother, Elizabeth McDonald, tended to household and farming duties. With the announcement of the 1936 Liffey Reservoir Act, the McDonald family and the other residents of Ballynahown were forced to vacate their beloved holdings under a compulsory purchase order. The relatively young Fianna Fáil government informed them that their land would soon be used as a source of water and hydroelectricity for Dublin City, an ASB initiative intended to improve Ireland's infrastructure. This was not without controversy at the time, as the local community felt that they were not only inadequately consulted of the planning processes but given no voice in the matter. Financial compensation for the families can only be described as derisory, with many being offered as little as €10 per acre for flat ground. High ground was not reimbursed at all. This was a complete and total impact on a scale the country had never seen before. It quickly became known as the drowning of Ballynahown, having extreme social and emotional repercussions for this community. Once the area was deserted, construction commenced, with the rivers of the Wicklow Mountains being employed to form the reservoir and ensure it remained continuously supplied. In November of 1937, the scenic Poulaphouca water fountain was replaced by a 32-metre tall, 79-metre wide concrete dam. This was intended to retain the waters of the 2 central rivers that flowed into the valley, the Kings River of the south and the River Liffey from the north. The local military forces took to detonating bridges to flatten the landscape in preparation for the lake, and many of the old homesteads, such as my ancestors', were reduced to rubble. Even the dead were not left to rest, with the cemetery being relocated for fears it would contaminate the water supply. Many of the headstones here had been designed and constructed by my great-grandfather Patrick as a local stonemason. On the 3rd of March 1940, the sluice gate diverting the River Liffey around the dam was shut. Many of the local people watched as their treasured towns vanished. The water levels slowly rose, and by September of that year, 1/3 of the reservoir had been completely covered. With an emotive break from the homeland their family had lived for many generations, the McDonald family relocated to a small farm and homestead in Dunlavin, County Wicklow. This was approximately 16 kilometres from their original home in Ballynahown. It was here they rebuilt their lives and started anew. During my travels to Ireland, I've been fortunate enough to visit this site with my parents and siblings. Elizabeth married Michael Byrne in 1955. They raised their 5 children, including my father Mark Byrne, on a farm just metres down the road, in an area known as Burns Hill. I have many fond childhood memories here. In June this year, my uncle Jerry Byrne was invited to attend the opening of the Valleymount Garden of Remembrance, a sacred space dedicated to the 76 families affected by the flooding between 1939 and 1940. It was here he met with the McDonald connections and other members of the original families affected by this story of displacement. Today, many visitors to the area could be forgiven for believing this artificial reservoir was always present, failing to recognize the historical landscape and scenery, now lost forever.